G'day, Chief. Welcome to the Inner Chief podcast and this special episode, which we call The Mini Chief. These are short, sharp highlights from our fabulous guests, where you get a 5 to 10 minute snapshot of the highlights from their episode. Right, Chief, without further ado, here is the Mini Chief episode for this week with Linda Carroll, Chief People Officer at G8 Education.
One of the other things you've got a real passion for is, we've spoken a lot about so far about the individual development, a bit of your own journey, a bit of developing people, but what about culture more broadly? Obviously, we are people and culture, and
Yeah.
in culture, we love this. We don't need to preach to the converted here. There's one little question I often think about, which is, what is the minimum effective dose? So if you were going into an organization and you could only make one or maximum 2 moves to lift culture up, what would be your first 1 or maximum 2 moves?
So what I've learned about culture, because it's a hard thing, it's intangible, isn't it? It's something that people struggle with depending on, how they look at business and how they look at their job. But the most important thing to me is something that I've already touched upon, which is recognition. So if you recognize what people do well, if you recognize when they've got a good attitude, if you recognize when they go the extra mile, if you notice when they stay back a little bit or they come up with a great idea, what you're doing is you're reinforcing those behaviors that you want them to repeat and that you want to build within that organization. So it's something really simple, but it goes a long way because we all want that pat on the back. We all want people to notice. And I think most people come to work wanting to do a good job and wanting to get some recognition for that. But you'd be surprised how often that goes unnoticed and people don't use that opportunity and grab that to build a great culture.
Yeah. And I remember, I can't remember who was responsible for the line. People don't remember what you do, they remember how you made them feel. And I think that is
Absolutely.
just such an important thing to remember
Mm.
when leading a team. Yeah. What about, let's focus a bit on on building that culture just within an executive team. I mean, you've been on exec roles for quite a considerable time now, and you've got that experience of working with senior executive groups and then with the board as well. Within building that with your peers, what's a really important part of that particular process?
So I think it comes back to trust. And that can be difficult, especially in an executive environment. Like it can get pretty tough and people have a lot of responsibility. So spending the time to build the relationships and create that trust goes a long way then to creating the right culture within a team and understanding what phase that team is in its development. Is it a new team that's just been assembled? Is it a team that have been through a lot together and are maybe a bit jaded and cynical? Are they somewhere in between? What are they facing? So really acknowledging where the team's at and what they need to do, having an understanding of the different personalities that are forming that team and how they fit together and how they can work together, and allowing that and acknowledging those differences is important. And then spending time together, both in a work environment, but also outside of a work environment, which I'm sure I'm preaching to the converted saying actually. Well, it's not a plug for what you do, but it makes a big difference, right? Like you would have seen that.
Absolutely. It
Yeah.
does. And
And why do you think that is? Is it because it humanizes the execs and it
I think
strips everyone down to the same level?
the environment dictates performance. And a few things. I think if you go into a lovely environment, maybe just outside of a city, somewhere at the beach or in the country or something like that, you see people turn up with different presence immediately. Their breathing pattern is different. They're relaxed. They're now in a new kind of emotional state. And that's the emotional state we need to do the tough work, which is strategy and culture and giving and receiving feedback to each other. If you do that in the everyday environment where people are running around, pretty fast, you don't access that particular part of the brain or that particular headspace, which is where the wisdom and the strategy and the trust can be built. So yeah, that's I think that's the reason. There's probably scientific papers behind it, but
Mm.
you've seen it, like people walk
Yeah.
different. And if you do, and I've done plenty of strategy sessions in the boardroom in an office, and they're okay. Like you still get work done, but it is not the same as when you go somewhere different.
I'd agree with that. The other thing I think that I've experienced along the way is working in an environment where an organisation is growing rapidly and you've got a lot coming at you. And it's a very exciting phase of a business. And if you're lucky enough to be involved in a business that's in that phase, the team of people that you work with, you create a very special bond, and which is hard to break because you're going through that same experience together. You're working hard, you're usually working long hours, you're solving problems in real time as you go and coming up with creative solutions. So it's, it can be incredibly stressful, but also deeply satisfying and a great way to bond with people. So putting people in a situation where they've got to solve a problem, which in that instance is how do we deal with this business that's growing almost faster than we can keep up with?
Yeah.
And that's an exciting place to be.
Well, I think some of the best teams I've ever worked with who are the tightest are the ones that have been through something together for, 4 to 5 years or longer.
Yeah.
They've been on this journey together, and wins, losses, setbacks, incredible victories, growth and transformation. And they've got a real energy and a power to them that is just awesome to be in the room with. Because yeah, it's right. But also what I loved about what you were saying before about the importance of bringing the team together, like one of the first things that I think is really important is that you lead situationally. So what you said before about, hey, do you know the personalities? Are you aware of the trust? Are you aware of where this team has been before? Are they new? They've been around a while. What's their transformation journey? This is important data. And if you just sort of walk into any team and lead the same way every time, it's actually likely that you're not going to get a result every time because it requires a different form of leadership. I think, like, I know in your career you've been involved in some pretty rapid growth in like certainly in the role before you went in now, and then and even more going on now in these industries where these are people businesses. It's just so important to have that loyalty and quality people in all roles of business. What are you doing now to try and build that growth and loyalty that you think, hey, this is sort of getting to the right place. This is the kind of way we really should be doing this.
We're doing a lot of coaching, one-on-one coaching, and really that spreads across not just professional development, but I think also personal development. It's very hard to differentiate those two aspects of a person. So, they're going to bring their personal challenges and, their personal, self-limiting beliefs to the workplace. And unless they can find a way to address those, potentially it's going to hold them back, which will hold the organisation back as well. So really leaning into that space and doing more work with org psychs as well, especially in our capability area, to really unpack how the initiatives that we're looking at are likely to land, what's motivating people, what's driving people, linking things back to strategy, and then making sure that that strategy is communicated out to each level of the organisation so that they understand what we're all working toward as a group. So there's some of the things that we're doing right at this very moment to try to bring people on the journey and for them to feel as though, they're playing an important part of it, which they are, and to motivate them. I also think it's really important to keep a sense of humour with all of this stuff. It goes a long way, especially if you're in a stressful environment, and, to be able to, take the piss out of yourself and to just show people that you're human, that you make mistakes, that, it doesn't hurt to have a laugh and to enjoy the moment as well. And it doesn't have to be all serious business all the time.
It just can't be. Like,
No.
you have to have a good time. And if you look at all the most stressful environments that professionals operate in, even from the military to doctors, they actually a lot of them have a lot of strong humor, like just to relieve the tension of these incredibly stressful environments. And if there's not, I've often said that if you're walking through the halls of a high performance team, I absolutely guarantee you'll hear laughter. And if there's not laughter, then it's not high performing.
Yeah. My CFO that I work with at the moment, he's one of the funniest people that I've ever met, and I absolutely adore working with him. And I will take any meeting that he sets up on finance and numbers, which I don't love, because it's with him, and I know it's always going to be entertaining, and he's just a great human. So it just goes a long way.
All right, Chief, there we have it for this week with your mini Chief episode. All the links and resources for the full episode can be found at chiefmaker.com/369. Chief, is the world just getting out of control for both you and the business? Are you finding it hard to get that laser focus you know you need in order to be effective? We've created a very practical resource at chiefmaker.com/focus to help you apply the right principles and moves, ask the right kinds of questions to avoid overload for you and your team and get back to core business and winning the game. Go to chiefmaker.com/focus for that PDF download. And if you would like to stay in touch and hear all about some of the best resources that you can find anywhere in the world to improve your performance at work, go to chiefmaker.com/subscribe. Now, Chief, if you're yet to rate the episode and subscribe, I hope you'll do so soon. It helps others see the magnificent value that the chiefs and gurus bring to their life and career. So make sure you hit subscribe on your podcast app now, give it a 5-star rating if you think it's worthy, and leave a short review about your favourite episode. Righto, Chiefs, as always, remember to stay epic.